well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Paul.
Yep.
Paul.
Nice shot. Good job.
That was fun.
No free man shall ever be debarred the use of arms. Thomas Jefferson.
Well, friends, we are at the world-famous Shooter's Grill in Rifle, Colorado, and we are joined with Congressman Lauren Boebert, Antonia Okafor, and Bobbie Daniel. So we had a wonderful time. We went shooting today. Got a chance to fire a whole bunch of different weapons. Did some clays, did some rifles, did some pistols. There was even a contest. Who won the contest?
I think Antonia had that one.
I'm not going to say anything.
She's very modest. She's very modest. No, girl,
Right.
You got that one.
It was close. It was close, but that was a lot of fun, and got a chance to just kind of celebrate this part of Colorado. What a beautiful part of Colorado. This is really God's country out here. This is wonderful. Tell us, how did you get to where you are now? You are representing the people of Colorado's 3rd Congressional District, I believe, and serving them in Washington, D.C. We've seen you confront Beto O'Rourke. That was part of your journey, but how did you get to where you are right now?
Well, I'm a mom, first of all. I have 4 boys, and they are what drives me. Having that concern of them not having the same freedoms and liberties that I had really motivates me to keep going. I was brought up in a Democrat household, very limited by government policies. Those policies, they kept us in this cycle of poverty, and there was no incentive to get out of that. But at a young age, I started working for myself, and I saw I could take better care of myself than the government ever could. I could put my hand to something, and I could create wealth. And that's something that has always stuck with me. So I am a self-taught conservative. And when things got tough here in the western part of Colorado, oil and gas industry started to be heavily regulated. We needed a plan B. We needed a backup plan of what are we going to do when the oil and gas industry picks up and leaves. And so I opened a restaurant. And when we first opened, we wanted a way to put other members of our community back to work. We wanted to be able to give back to our community, be involved with our community, have outreach. And so we opened Shooter's Grill, and we named it Shooters just as a spinoff of Rifle, Colorado, the city where we're in, and it's the only city in America named after a gun. But shortly after we opened, there was an altercation where a man was brutally beaten outside of my restaurant, and he lost his life. And that immediately prompted the question in me, how am I going to defend everyone? How will I protect someone against a potential larger aggressor? And so I started looking into Colorado's carry laws. I'd certainly gone out and with my shotgun and my rifles and just had fun target shooting, but I'd never looked at a firearm as a way of protection, something to defend myself with, or something that I would need. And I looked into Colorado's open carry laws, and that is what fit me at that time in my life. As a mom of 4, a new restaurant owner, I didn't have time to sit through a class when I already knew how to shoot a firearm, I already knew the basics of safety, and then pay my government a fee to prove my innocence, wait for their permit just so I could cover up my firearm. So I took advantage of Colorado's open carry laws, and I began to carry in my restaurant. It was a couple weeks later, I had some waitresses approach me, and they said, hey, we have our concealed carry permits, and we have our guns in our purses in the back. Can we open carry? And he said, oh my gosh, get your guns. Like, why are they in the back? We don't have lockers. That's the most irresponsible thing. So they began to open carry. We started target shooting. We started hosting concealed carry weapons training classes in the restaurant and educating the public. And firearm safety is something that we take very seriously. Soon, the news was coming in, and America was learning about Shooter's Grill, where all of the waitresses open carry. This certainly built a platform for the Second Amendment, but through that, an advocacy for freedom was born. And when I saw Beto O'Rourke announce to everyone from a presidential debate stage what we've all been saying for years, hell yes, we're gonna take your AR-15s, your AK-47s, I got pretty frustrated. Like, who's stopping this guy? We elect officials to secure our rights, and I saw too many of them giving our freedoms away. And so I drove to his presidential rally in Aurora, Colorado, 3 hours from here, with my Glock on my hip. And I looked Beto in the eye and told him, hell no, you're not. And that really launched me into this knowing that I have to do something. It's selfish for me to sit at home and complain about the problem and not put my hand to something and be a part of the solution. And so I said the people of Colorado deserve a voice and some proper representation. So here we are.
Well, what I love about your story and what I want to communicate to people today is that you didn't come from an Ivy League background. Right? Which Ivy League school did you go to?
Well, I got my GED, and so I'm happy to have that.
But you were just someone who cared about the Constitution, you cared about freedoms,
Right.
And you decided to step up and make a difference. Now, that's not easy. You faced tremendous opposition, not only from within your own party, but then during your general election as well. How did you maintain your vision and your focus and your determination through all of that?
Well, here in Western Colorado, we are full of grit. We are full of the glory of God, and we are rugged individuals. So, you know, whatever we put our hand to, we're going to make sure it prospers. We're going to get the job done. And so just having that determination going into this and knowing that the people of Western Colorado are worth fighting for, that's what kept me going. Looking at my 4 boys and knowing that their future, their freedoms are on the line, that made the sacrifice completely worth it. So every day I would get up and I would connect with people. And I think that's why I own a restaurant. I love people. I love serving people. And so what better to be a public servant? So, you know, I'm proud to be Colorado's first woman to represent and serve the people in this district, the first mom. That opposition, it kept me in the game, it kept me hungry, it kept me fighting and wanting more. I'm glad it wasn't an easy ride. I'm proud to have earned the support of the people here in this district, and I hope to continue to do that.
Antonia, you are not from this district. You joined us, or flew in from Houston. We're so grateful to have you visiting us here. How did you get to where you are now, working for Gun Owners of America?
Oh man, well, I would say I'm not the traditional gun rights activist. I didn't start out even pro-gun. I was actually pretty anti-gun. Grew up in a Democrat household, so essentially went through the whole, you know, enough is enough mantra. I'm actually a sexual assault survivor, and so I've always been very passionate about empowering women, and I was in spaces at the time before I became a believer that was more modern feminist, and but the problem I had, the question I kept asking these people in these circles were, well, okay, if we want to empower women, and instead of always talking about the perpetrator, right, rape culture and stuff like that, campus sexual assault, why don't we talk about ways we can empower women to not be in those situations, or at least to get out of those situations if they are? And that's where all of that stopped, where people would stop talking to me or get upset that I was bringing up the Second Amendment or assuming that women can have the right to defend themselves on college campuses. And so that just kind of lit something in me where I was sick and tired of this runaround, this game, that I eventually realized that it wasn't really about empowering women, it was about empowering an agenda that really had nothing to do with empowering women. And so that led me to being an advocate for not only the Second Amendment at my college at the time, but also pushing for concealed carry in Texas. And so I was part of that campus carry movement there. And when that passed, I was part of the implementation of it. But I realized that it was really young women like me, who were going to be the future of the gun rights movement. So that kind of led me to starting Empowered 2A, which is a national young women's organization that is now part of GOA as the women's outreach for GOA. And that's where I am right now.
Bobbie, you are a conservative leader in many different avenues. You serve in your local community. You're also the chairwoman of the board of the Colorado Women's Alliance. Why does first of all, why did you decide to get involved in conservative leadership in your community? And why is the Second Amendment important? Why did you decide to join us today?
So I just grew up in a household. We're sixth generation Colorado natives. So this was just in our blood. This is what you do. You ride, you rope, you do all of this stuff. You shoot. I can't remember a time where I wasn't shooting. You know, we'd go camping, we'd go out to public lands, and that's just what you did. So growing up, I didn't know any different. I just thought that's just what everybody did. And then as I got older, I started my own business as a hairdresser. And I grew up waiting tables, and so you're always talking to people. And as I had a 12-year long business doing hair, you just hear people's stories and you realize that they just want to be in control of their own lives. The government shut down in 2013, and I sat at my kitchen table and wrote solutions. I'm like, well, you experts are doing such a great job. I'm going to give this a try. So I would talk to my clients or teachers and social workers and business owners, and I'm like, okay, what do you think about this? What if we did that? So I ended up writing 38 chapters. The book's called Solutions from a Nobody. And I'm like, okay, I wrote this book. How do I get this enacted? You know, so I started working in local policy with leaders, ran some Senate campaigns, state Senate campaigns. January rolled around this year, and I decided to run for an elected office locally. And I think it's just the beauty of America is just standing up. You don't have to be some qualified know-it-all. It's better if you're not, actually. Yeah, it's better if you're not. And I think that that's just, if I could give a gift to my kids and just be the example for them. I have 4 kids at home. It's, don't let anybody take this away from you.
I think most people look at the Second Amendment that aren't from here, or maybe that live in cities, will look at the Second Amendment as antiquated, outdated, that the only people that care about it are kind of gun collectors that maybe have some fear for personal safety, but probably just want to hunt more than anything else. Why is the Second Amendment important? What do we need to communicate to people that the Second Amendment isn't some antiquated amendment left over from, you know, the late 1700s?
Well, first of all, the Second Amendment has nothing to do with hunting. You know, I mean, it is certainly a way of life here. You know, if something's after my goat, I want a way to stop whatever's getting it. But it has absolutely nothing to do with that. It's a great tool to use, but it is the defender of all of our other rights. It is, as Bobbie said, a check on government. And that is how we ensure we remain a free people.
We need to be very clear about what the Second Amendment is really about. Again, it's not hunting. It's not even as passionate as an advocate as I am about self-defense. It's not about self-defense. It's about keeping the checks and balances, but definitely making sure that you have the tools necessary in case we have to go through what they went through when they were writing the Constitution. They did that so we don't have to, and that is to make sure that we are not in an oppressive government, and that we, if we need to, have to go against an oppressive government. And so what does that mean? It means that we have the right to keep and bear arms, and that means all arms. And in this environment, in this political climate with Biden and all of Beto O'Rourke, which I'm a Texan and I don't claim him, and all these people who don't understand what it really means, well, that's why we continue to get this, well, you don't need this, you don't need this, you don't need that caliber, you don't need that many rounds. the fact of the matter is that this is a human right. The fact of the matter is that the Second Amendment is not a right, but rather a protection that already shows the rights that we already have. And it's supposed to be about protecting those rights. If we don't understand the true meaning of the Second Amendment and what that definition actually means, then that's when we get in a lot of trouble.
Well, and I think viewpoints are changing. So traditionally, most gun owners are white men, but that's changing. I saw recently that the black community is driving a lot of new sales for gun ownership in this country, and I think a lot of it is not rooted in just self-protection or hunting, but because they too are concerned about government overreach in their communities and the challenges that they're having. How is gun ownership changing in America?
Well, after last year with the rioting, the looting, the burning down of small businesses, the chaos and anarchy in the streets, we still have active insurrections, actual insurrections taking place where they're taking over cities. After watching that and then still seeing the same party who is encouraging this, who is incentivizing it, who's bailing these folks out of jail, getting them back on the streets, the same folks are wanting to defund our police officers and limit our law enforcement's capabilities. They want to take away qualified immunity from them and weaken them in their ability to do their job. People are saying, hey, who's looking out for me? Who's looking out for my family? I need to do something. And now we see nearly 10 million new gun owners in America since last year, because people know they need a way to protect themselves. We've been told for years, well, that's a police officer's job. It's his job to protect you. Well, what if you can't get there soon enough? You know,
or
why
you
do I have to put
the police and then you can't do it?
And then they're not there. Yes, they're going to have a way to defend themselves, and so that's why we're seeing so many gun owners. And when you're talking about these minority communities, when you're talking about Washington, D.C., Chicago, Portland, all of these places where there's such strict gun control, even Denver, they don't allow open carry. They have more restrictions in Denver than anywhere else in Colorado. And if these gun laws worked, these cities would be looking like Mayberry. The gun laws do not work. And if their cities looked a little bit better from their gun laws, maybe intelligent people would look at that and say, hey, you got something going on there. But they're failed policies. They don't work. It's just about control.
So is the conservative message then we want more guns in inner city communities?
We want less regulations.
Less regulation?
Less regulations, and give people the accessibility to protect themselves. Otherwise, you're only going to have criminals who are armed, because law-abiding citizens are not going to break the law to defend themselves. They're going to find another way, or they're going to leave. And then you only have criminals who have the guns. And there are evil people. There are bad people that do bad things. And we need a way to stop them. I mean, the best way, we've all said it, the best way to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy or girl with a gun.
But I almost wonder if this becomes like school choice for inner city communities, where the conservatives come in and say, we want to give you more freedom, more options. The system that you're stuck in now, the government-run education that you're stuck in now, is not providing a future for your children. So we want to give you more options. The policing that's happening in inner city communities is not efficient, and it's not good. You have a lot of illegal guns. Look at Chicago. You have a lot of illegal guns. Simply relying upon the police to defend you is not going to be good enough. You need conservative messages. You should have the right to bear arms. You should have the right to protect your family. And we would want to see more people empowered in those communities, as opposed to taking away their guns and just allowing criminals, the only ones to have guns.
Well, it's criminal, the fact that those who want to be law-abiding, in order, for example, like the state of Illinois, where you have to pay $450 for a concealed carry permit. The fact that you're paying the government to say, yes, okay, you can have a gun, and just let me know what type of gun you have, and then I can let you have it. That's criminal. people take for granted that we have these rights, but people are looking at America. We are still a country that people look to, and they're seeing these rights being taken away, and people letting them take them away, and it's disheartening to a lot of people, not just in this country, but in other places as well.
Colorado has a horrible reputation with Columbine, the Aurora Theater shooting. Now you have the King Soopers shooting. I'm sure there's other ones that I'm forgetting right now, but we have this, the STEM shooting in our hometown. Gosh, what a hero the young man was to defend, without a weapon, to defend himself. But these happen, and I think all of us look at the news and go, we've got to figure out a way to stop these. This is awful. You can't go to a school, you can't go to a movie theater, you can't go to shopping without thinking in the back of your mind that somebody out there may unload. The liberal plan is that we've got to get rid of these types of weapons. That's the solution that they're putting forth. What is the solution that conservatives are putting forth to specifically stop these types of things?
Well, first of all, we don't differ in our hearts. We differ in data. We don't want school shootings. We don't want shootings anywhere. We don't want mass shootings. We don't want this. But we need a way to stop bad people from doing bad things. And if you look at all of these tragedies that have taken place in Colorado, the common theme is gun-free zones. These happened where there was not a law-abiding citizen present to neutralize the threat. And that's how you get a mass shooting. And that's typically where mass shootings happen, is in these gun-free zones. In Colorado, we actually have a great organization called Faster Colorado, and they go in and train school teachers how to carry. And then it's up to the school board to decide if teachers can carry in those schools or not. And it's a fantastic organization, and it empowers the teachers to neutralize a threat that's coming against their students, against their fellow staff members and guests in the building. And there's actually a way to stop it rather than hiding behind a desk or just hoping you can get away. There's a way to actually stop this. Unfortunately, the liberal policies that come out, they want to take firearms away from law-abiding people. They want to create more gun-free zones, and now they're even attacking our school resource officers and wanting to limit what they can do inside the schools. We see Denver, and they removed the police department from their schools, and so it's just really devastating to see all of these regulations and limitations come, and that's not the answer. If it was the answer, it would be working.
Yeah, absolutely. And the same, exactly with that, the example was recently Boulder. All of these on the state level, on a local level, on the city of Boulder level, right? Gun control was implemented. All the things that they're trying to push now on the national level and the federal level after Boulder were all things that were already in place. Red flag laws. The city of Boulder with their assault weapons ban that just ended the Friday before. Come on, it didn't make any type of impact those days in between. And then, of course, even universal background checks, all things HR 8, HR 1446 that have already passed the House, that are looking at being passed in the Senate. Like things like that have absolutely no positive impact, but yet, again, the whole enough is enough narrative, which I honestly want to take that back and say enough is enough with this insanity cycle of putting gun control in that has not worked and continues to fail people like it's already failed people before.
And I think that's one of the big problems we have. What is the safest restaurant in America right now? What's the safest restaurant in America? Can you stand up and just turn to the side and show why this is the safest restaurant in America right now? I feel very safe. Representative Boebert is well-armed, well-trained, and sitting right next to me.
And now we just showed the world my stock Glock sights. I'm going to get calls to my congressional office over this.
They know their guns.
Right, yes, they do. You know, I think it's really interesting, too, that it's not just H.R. 8 and H.R. 1446. It's not just the state legislatures. We now have the most powerful man in the world, the leader of the free world, the president of the United States, pushing for executive orders to trample on our Second Amendment rights. And he's doing that because he knows he cannot get the Congress to sign on to that, to approve that. I mean, sure, it'll get through the House, but the Senate has to hold the line. And he knows that he cannot get that support, so he's pushing it through this way, saying that no amendment is absolute. I mean, how terrifying is that for us three here? Next year, are we not going to have the right to vote?
Well, we need to listen to history, you know, and when you would talk about oppression, and if you dig just even slightly a little deeper than what the narrative of, you know, CNN and all of them, when we want to save people, when we want to not have slavery, when we want to be free, this is what we're talking about. Empowering those people to be able to protect themselves from a government that will kill their own citizens. And we look through history, that's where the morality is. You know, 45 million people in just one ruler, and that's staggering. And so I think in America, we think about, oh, well, I want to be moral and good, and I want to check that box that I'm protecting XYZ. But this is how you protect XYZ, is having the Second Amendment.
We, the governed, give consent to be governed.
Yeah.
And there's some stuff we're not consenting to anymore.
No.
Democrats are proposing to reduce violence by limiting high-capacity magazines, limiting the maybe power of weapons. They want to kind of limit a lot of different aspects of our abilities to own weapons. What is your response to those that say we would have less violence if we had less high-capacity magazines?
Well, I can't take credit for this one. It's the CEO of Gun Owners of America who says it often, Eric Pratt, but he always says with that one that we have a Bill of Rights, not a Bill of Needs. The right of the people, which means it's pre-existing, to keep and bear arms, period. And that's what is important, and that's why we cannot go one way or another in policy when it comes down to the political wind of what's going to be acceptable and what's not going to be acceptable.
As far as the Democrats go, I mean, maybe next is our freedom of speech, and it's high capacity tweets. Maybe they're going to limit the amount of tweets that you could have, and maybe we should limit the amount of high capacity executive orders that are coming out of the executive branch right now. Limit them to 2. Maybe he can't have high capacity executive order powers.
I think that would be appreciated.
You know, we have to be strong in the fact that we're on the right side. We're saving lives. You know, we are empowering people to empower themselves, to protect themselves. I mean, what other gift than giving the gift of life, right? Than enabling someone to keep that life. Like, that's what, if we're going to be pro-life, that's what I see as pro-life, of defending someone's life and also defending the unborn.
Shooter's Grill in Rifle, Colorado, where nearly everybody is armed, and there are even guns on the walls, is a safer place than a restaurant in the middle of downtown Chicago or some other gun-free zone. Think about that. There are guns everywhere right now in this restaurant, and it feels safer and is safer than a restaurant in a gun-free zone. That needs to change our dynamic and how we understand the way guns play a role in our safety, safety of our families, the safety of our communities. A well-armed citizenry is a pro-life citizenry.
Thank you.